And tonight on PM Express, the big debate about who's a state of the nation or who is painting the true picture of what the state of the nation is. Is it the NDC or the NPP? There have been counter-accusations by both sides, and this follows the President Nana Akufo-Addo's constitutional mandate, which he exercised by giving us the State of the Nation address. Now, the NDC accuses the NPP government of actually borrowing too much. The NPP says it hasn't borrowed much, but then it has borrowed less than the NDC. This is something we'll be fact-checking. The NPP says COVID, Ukraine, Russia has affected us, and that is why we have this economic crisis. The NDC says the NPP is the most dishonest government. Well, it was re-endorsed 3 years ago. Why is that? We'll be checking all of that. But also, corruption has been big on the table. Who has fought corruption better? There are issues we'll be checking tonight. But let's look at the statistics. And these are the case that has been made by the two parties, the NDC and the NPP. The NDC says the President's State of the Nation was out of touch of reality. The NPP says the President addressed the critical issues and was honest in the assessment. And the NDC says President refused to cut down the size of his bloated government. The NPP says that President has not ignored calls to reduce its size of government. The Akufo-Addo Bawumia administration borrowed recklessly. That's the NDC there. And the NPP says government has not over-borrowed. We'll find out why. Inflation, the NDC says, is extremely high. Now the NPP says the current inflation is a global problem, and so it cannot take blame for that. Let's look at some comparative analysis we've done for these precedents. We've started from Kufuor and we're ending at Nana Akufo-Addo. In 2001 to 2008, this is the debt that was inherited by President Kufuor. And this is from the NPP's press conference today. This is how it addresses the issue of the bloated deficit. There are debt deficits. And it says that Akufo-Addo inherited 5.4 billion and then left behind 9.7 billion. How much? Rate of exchange, 80%. It comes to Atamil's Mahama government, 2009-2016, within a space of 8 years. It says it inherited 9.7 billion, left behind 122 billion, and the rate of exchange, 1,157%. Nana Akufo-Addo, 2017 to 2022, inherited 122 billion, and it says currently it stands at 575.7 Ghana cedis, and the rate of exchange is 372. The basis on which it says the Mahama Atamil's led government has done more debt for the country than the NPP, because it says it's in its 6 years and it hasn't even ended the 8 years term, so it cannot be blamed much. Now, this is President Akufo-Addo between 2001 and 2008, and this is the NDC's explanation of the debt. It says the amount added to debt stock of 4.82 billion cedis. That's what Kufuor added. Atamil's Mahama 2009 to 2016, it added 112.42 billion. Nana Akufo-Addo 2017-2022, it added 453.5 billion. Both sides, if you want to do the calculation, is correct. But what's the reality is something we'll be looking at. Now, this is the debt accumulation trend, and it starts from 2000 and ends here, 2022 November. If we look at 2008, it raised to 9.7. Now, this is fast forward to 2013, 53. And then it comes to 2016, 122. Fast forward, 2022 November is 575.7. You look at the economic debt to GDP rate, and 2017 we had 55.5, 2018 57.6. Look at how it goes. It ended at 2022 and it's at 93.5. If you look at all the years, 2020, 2021, then you see that there's some parity over there. But in 2022, it shot up high. We will find out why all of these are happening. In fact, the NPP has been trying to proffer some answers. But look at this, inflation, and it's been big on the conversation. January 14, look at how the trend has been. It goes all up, comes down January 18, then comes down, then goes up again. January 2022. So this is 2014. This is 2016. So 2014 it was down. 2016 it comes up. 2018 down. 2020 down. Then the curvy nature. 2022 it goes up high there. Why is it like that? So we are going to be digesting the two presentations made by the two major political parties, the NDC and the NPP, whose state of the nation is the truth, who's painting the real picture of the true state of the nation. Nana Boachi is the national organizer of the NDC. He's joined me in the studio. Sami Jemfi is the national communication officer of the NDC. When I return from this break, we'll have that conversation.
Can he tee up someone in red? And it goes towards...
What's 5 champions league? You want to know? I be the real goat. What's the real goat? The left magician. The left magician.
Who is the goat? Ghana Jollof or Nigeria Jollof?
Ghana Jollof has no co-equal. The smell alone. Oh my God.
For that shit. You two they lie. Now the same stew when they use cook the rice and then they go put them for top.
You are lying. Ghana Jollof.
Are you idiot? Forget everybody. Yeah, my guy. Put some respect on the goat. On the goat. The only goat I know lives in Tema. Every year we dey give to you back to back. We are talking about PET. I want some Yajiaji face. Except be the goat. My guy, he be the goat.
Though our choice of goats may differ in football, music, and jollof, Alomo Bitters always brings us together. Alomo, experience greatness in every moment.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 and recommended to pregnant women. This advert is FDA.
My name is C. I'm a person living with HIV. I got to know of my HIV status when I became pregnant. Since then, I have successfully been delivered of an HIV negative baby, thanks to PMTCT services. I follow the guidelines and take my HIV medicine called ARVs every day to date. This makes me strong, healthy, and prevents me from passing HIV onto my baby. Please avail yourself of PMTCT services when pregnant. It is the only way to ensure that you do not transmit HIV onto your baby during pregnancy, birth, and breastfeeding. Even if you have tested for HIV recently and was negative, test again when pregnant. If you test positive, take the baby back to the hospital immediately after birth, as directed by your healthcare provider. The baby will also be given medicine immediately after birth and tested to ensure that both mother and baby are well. Let's work together to have a generation free of HIV.
Our children must be free to shine.
Answer by now, me.
Whiskey.
Wash. All of a sudden, my voice I different. And when you try a call. Barman, bring me the honey whiskey. You know the one? Black Rock whiskey.
Honey whiskey.
Chalet, honey near their frau. Black Rock whiskey is strong. Now to taste me is smooth and it goes down easy. Excuse me. Barman, bring my friend one Black Rock whiskey.
Black Rock whiskey, blended with natural honey flavor.
Hey, what's up?
Barman.
Hey, what the over Sikanton Sada? If you have been to a man, no.
Black Rock whiskey can be a feeling smoothness, no.
Drink responsibly. Not for sale to persons under 18 years of age and not recommended for pregnant women. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
For crystal clear and thrilling podcasts and live shows, download and listen to us on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, MyJoy Online, Amazon services like Echo, Amazon Music, and Audible, Stitcher, Adom Online, Overcast, and Pandora. Take note of everything. Sign up for the multimedia digital platforms now to stay updated.
Every day, people have money emergencies. Ma, I need my school fees emergency. Mommy chop money emergency. Emergency. Catch it. I'm your rent emergency. Now, there's a new emergency number in town.
More money, challenge and enjoyment. At the top life we got.
Dial star 770 hash for all your money emergencies and chop life.
Dial star 770 hash for money emergencies and get easy and quick access to your money, loans, and other banking needs. EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank.
Welcome back to PM Express. My name is Aisha Ibrahim and I've been joined by these two strong gentlemen. And Sami Jemfi is National Communications Officer of the NDC. Nana Boache is to my left and he is the National Organizer of the NPP. Welcome, gentlemen, to PM Express.
Thank you, Aisha.
Ordinarily, I would have begun from you, Nana Boache, but let me change the status quo today. I will begin from left to right. And I'll start with you, Sami Jemfi. Let me pick a quick reaction of the NDC of what has happened by the NPP today.
Well, a very good evening to your cherished viewers. The press statement, which was delivered by the national chairman of the NPP today, is nothing but a rehash of the blatant falsehoods and flimsy excuses that were peddled by President Akufo-Addo in his infamous State of the Nation address on the 8th of March 2023. And if you watched the presentation of the national chairman, you could see clearly that he had been pushed and pressurized to speak. This was a man who clearly did not believe in the kind of things he was saying. He had no clue about the issues that had been written for him to read out. And you could see that he had been pressured by his foot soldiers and the hawks in the Akufo-Addo Bawumia government to address a press conference just because the national chairman of the NDC addressed a major, presentation on the true state of the nation. So it would have been better if he had not spoken at all, because he has further reinforced the dishonesty of the NPP Akufo-Addo Bawumia government, their lack of respect for the people of this country, their lack of sensitivity to the plight of the people of this country, and so on and so forth. You see, when we talk about the state of a country, it is not something you can lie about and go scot-free, because it is the daily experience of the people. As the legendary Bob Marley noted in one of his songs, he who feels it knows it best. So Ghanaians better appreciate the state of hopelessness we find ourselves in. And therefore, it will be an exercise in futility for anyone to set out to use falsehood to paint a different picture other than what Ghanaians are currently experiencing. So what they did was very needless, very irritating. I'm sure many all well-meaning, objective minds who watch were amazed that in these times of hardships, in these times where Labour, Guta, AGI, all Ghanaians are up in arms against government because of the excruciating hardships they are reeling under, the chairman of the ruling party will call a press conference, not to talk about the pragmatic steps his government is putting in place to ameliorate the plight of the people, but to compare the performance of his government with the government that left office about 7 years ago, which comparisons are flawed anyway, okay?
This week at Macy's, take an extra 20% off everything you need for holiday hosting with your coupon or Macy's card. That's on top of already great deals, like 60% off kids' dresses and dressy looks, 30 to 70% off gorgeous fine jewelry, and 40 to 50% off dining and entertaining essentials. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members can earn rewards even faster during Star Money Bonus Days, going on now at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
And to make very, very flimsy excuses for the failings of President Akufo-Addo, Alhaji Bawumia, which has plunged the country into the economic quagmire we find ourselves. And if you want us to go into the details of the statement, I'm happy to do so.
Yes, we'll go into the details of the statement, because I remember at your press conference, you talked about a host of issues why you think the NDC has been one of the most discredited government. And today, the NPP has been responding. You talked about Ukraine, COVID-19, you talked about corruption and what have you. Nana, he says that what you did today is needless. In fact, the chairman of your party who addressed the conference was clueless about what he was talking about.
Thank you very much, Aisha, and then good evening to my brother. Since he managed to put a beautiful ring on his left finger, this is the first time I'm seeing him. So welcome to...
Congratulations.
Yes, welcome to the club. Congrats once again. Yes, I think that Sami is totally being mischievous. First of all, he is right by saying that the chairman should not have responded. It's true, because the statement, for me, I think that what Chairman Mosquito did was rather a presentation that was not supposed to come from a
but that was 2
chairman.
Weeks ago. Why
Yes.
did it take you this long? Was it an afterthought?
Oh, no, it was not an afterthought. We had a series of events. You know that we even had a visit from the Kamala Harris and all of that. So we had to suspend some of these things. I mean, we are a party in government, so we had a series of events. That is why. And immediately the statement came. Frankly, the national chairman would not have responded, but for the falsehood headed by General Mosquito. I mean, for me, I thought that what General Mosquito did was quite pedestrian. I mean, this is unsubstantiated presentation put out. This is not supposed to come from a national chairman, but for the national chairman, it was of the view that, look, once the national chairman puts himself in this manner, and one such lies, falsehood, and one such mischievous presentation is being put out by a national chairman of a ruling party, a seasoned politician like Mr. Esudin Ketia. I mean, we must respond to some of these lies that were peddled. So I would disagree with Sami if he says that he should not have responded. But in another breath, I think I would agree with him, because obviously some of these lies should not be responded to.
What were the lies you talk about?
Yes, for me, you consider Mr. Mosquito saying that we have mismanaged the economy, and those assertions are not supported by facts. And I'm going to give you some facts. In fact, for the Akufo-Addo's government, we have done far better, even in COVID era, than even former President.
Let me help you with highlights of some of the things that the NDC spoke about, and of course, vaccine shortage.
No. I remember. I have views of all of that, because they mentioned the economy. I would want to probably
So the debt exchange program, the financial haircuts,
yes,
the rating downgrades into
to be frank, all of us, including myself, we all agreed that we are in normal times. And we have also mentioned that it is not because of the happenings of this particular government or the actions. We have mentioned it several times. And the NDC has assumed a certain push train, blatantly refusing to acknowledge the fact that it is COVID and Russia-Ukraine war that brought us all this mess.
Why?
As I speak, in 2019, if you ship a container, it was 1,489. In 2022, it is 9,446.
But the NDC says COVID came as a blessing to the NDC.
No, how is it?
It mentions an amount of 30 billion that you raked in within 1 year. And you still think
if you don't allow me to flow in some of these things, I think you don't get it well.
Okay, go ahead.
I said that COVID caused it.
Okay.
Russia-Ukraine war is part of it. You asked why. And I'm saying that if before COVID, any business person shipping a container would have to pay $1,400.
Okay.
But because of COVID, you are now paying close to $10,000.
Okay.
If during COVID, African Development Bank is saying that, look, we have had almost about 300% rise in the price of fertilizer. We import 30% of fertilizer from Russia. Ukraine alone, we get almost about 60% of our steel and iron ore from Ukraine. 50% of flour is from Russia. 39% of our fertilizer is from Russia. 30% of grains is from Russia. So how can anybody, any well-meaning person, somebody who really wants to, know the facts and go behind what is really going on, tell me that this cannot affect the economy of, especially when we are heavily relying on these two economies, Russia and then Ukraine.
But the NDC says it's not only Ghana that was hit by Russia, Ukraine, and COVID. It hits a lot more countries. But why is it only Ghana? Is it that we didn't have a plan?
How is it only Ghana?
To actually
in their press conference, I quite remember that they mentioned that Ivory Coast is doing so well. Ivory Coast now, as I speak, they are, with the IMF, seeking for a $2.9 billion bailout. So how is that a fact? How is that a fact? I mean, you visit UK, and unprecedented, they have a high, almost about, in over 40 years, they've never experienced such high inflationary figures. In over 40 years, US, they've never experienced such high rate of unemployment before. It is global. Even when the Vice President even came here, he alluded to these facts. It is not only Ghana.
Are you now blaming unemployment on COVID and Ukraine?
Well, it is part of it, but you see, we manage it very well. Before, under NDC, unemployment rate was close to about 13%. We brought it down to 9%. That is why I was saying that we had managed even the economy far better. Look, I was giving you some figures, that even at grade 2013 to 2016, they managed an average growth of 2.8%. 2017 to 2020, we managed an average growth of 5.8%. Industry was booming. From 2017 to 2020, we had an average growth of 10.8%. You compare that to a paltry 3.3% of the NDC. Actually, you go to service sector, whilst we were managing, or we were doing 7.3%, they were doing 5.2%. City depreciation, yes, we've suffered, some fall. I would agree. But then we've managed it 2013 to 2016. The NDC performed poorly, 18%. 2017 to 2021, we had 6.8%. So, Acha, no well-meaning person would say that the NDC managed the economy far better than us. And even in COVID, even when the NDC did not have COVID, they said that they lacked the policy credibility. They had to run to IMF. Even when there was no COVID in Russia-Ukraine war, we were told that our resources have been stripped to the bone. Even when we did not have Russia-Ukraine war, we were told that industry players who were complaining of the hardship as a result of doing so are not smart enough. They are laying off workers. We did not have do so. We were told that if you want to enjoy stable electricity, be prepared to pay more. At least I'm happy that I have been coming to these studios quite a lot. And in COVID and Russia-Ukraine war, we still have lights on. We've suffered some 4-5 years of doing so under the NDC era. Okay. So if anybody, especially my brothers from the NDC, if they want to juxtapose these two economies and they would want to blatantly refuse to accept the fact that globally we are suffering, but rather because of political capital, they would want to put out falsehood, massage figures, manipulate the story, and then consistently, if they decide to hit on these falsehood, because their belief is that consistent repetition of falsehood can in a way create a certain sense of truth in the minds of people. Let
me bring in Sami Jemfe. The MPP seem to rather make a forceful case that COVID-19, Ukraine, Russia has really hurt the economy bad. Isn't that accurate? Especially as in February, we had the IMF boss actually saying that, they actually acknowledge the fact that there's been exigency shockers that hit bystanders, of which Ghana is part, and that it's not the fault of Ghana that we are where we are, but COVID, Ukraine, Russia has played a part. Isn't this something you should be looking at?
Well, thank you very much. You see, there are two things that COVID-19 did to the Ghanaian economy. The first was that COVID-19 exposed and worsened an already bad economy. Now listen to me carefully. You see, like human beings, the impact of COVID-19 on a healthy person is not the same as the impact of COVID-19 on a person with underlying health conditions. You know that.
Sure.
The medical doctors have told us that. And so somebody can get COVID and even be asymptomatic. Another gets the same COVID and dies from it. Why? Because of underlying health conditions. That perfectly describes the story of Ghana.
Okay.
Before COVID, our economy was already in a bad state. I am not saying it. The facts show clearly that Ghana's economy showed signs of serious challenges before COVID. And Mr. Pierre Laporte, the country director of the World Bank, is on public record to have stated so.
Okay.
What does the facts show? Before COVID, the cedi had depreciated by over 14% in 2019. In fact, if you read paragraph 61 of the MPP's own 2020 media budget, this is what it says. Ken Oforiatta, on behalf of President Akufo-Addo, says that in the year to December 2019, that was before COVID, the Ghana cedi cumulatively depreciated by 12.9% against the US dollar, compared with 8.4% depreciation in 2018 against the British pound. Now it says against the British pound and euro, the Ghana cedi cumulatively depreciated by 15.7%, okay, and 12.2% respectively. So even before COVID, our cedi was depreciating at a very alarming rate. Bear in mind that the cedi depreciated by only 9.6% in 2016, when Bawumia and the MPP claimed that the fundamentals of our economy were weak, and that is why the cedi was depreciating at 9.6%. Now you record an alarming depreciation rate of over 14% in 2019 before COVID. So much so that President Akufo-Addo had to set up a 40-member committee. You remember? to investigate the reasons for the depreciation of the cedi. Had we recorded COVID-19 as at that time? The answer is no. So COVID is not the reason for our weak national currency.
But it has...
No, in fact, COVID rather strengthened it because it slowed down economic activity in 2020 and reduced the demand for dollar. In 2020, you realize that the cedi performed much better than it did in 2019.
But it's
so
not pay attention. That makes out for the economy.
So I have given you the first indicator because Dr. Bawumia, don't forget, told you in opposition that if you want to know the strength of the fundamentals of every economy, the most important barometer is the exchange rate. That is why I'm starting with the exchange rate depreciation. Okay. You understand? Right. 9.6% depreciation in 2016, 14% depreciation in 2019 before COVID. The public debt, which is our bane today, had increased from 120 billion as of December 2016, when the ex-Wal NDC Mahama administration was leaving office, to 225 billion cedis as of March 2020. A nominal increase of 105 billion cedis, okay? And in terms of debt to GDP ratio, we had increased from 56% of debt to GDP ratio to 64% in 2019. If you added the Dache and ESLA debts, debt to GDP ratio was already heading to 70% before COVID. What does that tell you? What that tells you is that before COVID, we were already borrowing recklessly. The figures say so. Before COVID, how were we spending? Responsibly or recklessly? The figures show that in 2018, I am not saying it, this government's own documents submitted to the IMF for the $1 billion rapid credit facility shows, page 3 of it is what I have in my hand here, that in 2018, we recorded a budget deficit of 7% and 7.5% in 2019. Meaning that before COVID, we had crossed the fiscal acceptable threshold of 5% of budget deficit. We were already being reckless in our expenditures before COVID-19. Again, before COVID, our debt service amount had increased from 14 billion cedis in 2016 to 37 billion in 2019 and constituted 91% of tax revenue. In other words, we're using about 91% of our tax revenue as a country to service our debt before COVID. Before COVID, Aisha, the real sector was already on the decline. The manufacturing sector, which grew by 7.9% in the year 2016 under President Mahama, and today I want to give you evidence of every figure I give you. They speak and rattle figures without any evidence. I'm going to demonstrate to you that he has peddled falsehood even on this platform. Now, this is Appendix 1A of the 2023 budget statement. And then you check the growth figures for the real sector. Before COVID, manufacturing sector grew 7.9. You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
Now, 2019, 6.3%. There was a decline. Construction sector under President Mahama, 2016, 8.4%. Now, before COVID, 2019, negative 4.4%. Now, it is therefore not true that our economy was the toast of the world. Everything was rosy with our economy.
But the president admitted that the economy is in crisis.
No, I am saying that the claim that everything was well with our economy before COVID struck is palpable falsehood. And I've demonstrated that to you with incontrovertible facts. Number 2, COVID, yes, affected the Ghanaian economy. Nobody can disprove that. Nobody can deny that. But the question is, Ghana only needed 11.7 billion cedis to manage the effect of COVID on the economy. Yet we got 30 billion Ghana cedis.
That figure, if you look at the Auditor General's report,
the Auditor General says 21.8 billion. Now I am saying 30 billion because the Auditor General left the $1 billion special drawing rights facility, which came in April 2021. The Auditor General only reported the first $1 billion rapid credit facility, which came in 2020. If you check table 1 of his audit report. Let's even take the Auditor General's figure, 21.8 billion. The Auditor General says they only used 12 billion of that amount to manage COVID. So they had more than 10 billion left as a result of COVID to stabilize and to support the economy. Now, how can you continue to blame COVID for your own economic failings, your own recklessness, when COVID actually gave you far more than you needed to manage it? Number 3, as you pointed out to him, Ghana is not an island. Like our neighbors, we all have suffered from the ravages of COVID-19, right? Now the issue is, compare, I don't know if my microphone is working.
Sure.
Should I go?
Sure, go ahead.
Now the issue is, compare the economies of our neighbors, Togo, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, and so on, to Ghana. Which of our neighbors today are going through a draconian debt exchange program?
He just pointed Ivory Coast to you.
They are not doing domestic debt exchange. They are not doing debt restructuring.
You just started.
They are not. They are not doing debt exchange. Don't lie.
It's okay.
You have sat here and peddled falsely that in 2016 the unemployment rate was 13%. Who told you that? Who told you that? What is the source of that figure?
No, I said unemployment rate, World Bank data, 2014 to 2016 is 12.92%.
It is not.
World Bank data, and 2017 to 2020 was 9%.
Listen, if you are quoting the World Bank data, fine, because the World Bank's definition of unemployment is different from the definition of the Ghana Statistical Service of unemployment.
Okay.
And if I can, there is no time to show you the differences.
Okay.
But if you are going per the Ghana Statistical Services figures of unemployment, unemployment rate for 2016, according to table 5.27 of the Ghana Living Standard Survey 7, it was 8.4%. As we speak, the latest figure is 13.9%, almost 14%. Let me just set that record straight, even before we move on. So the point I'm making is that COVID only came to expose and worsen an already bad economy. And that is why none of our neighbors are going through debt restructuring of any form, domestic debt exchange, and so on.
This week at Macy's, take an extra 20% off everything you need for holiday hosting with your coupon or Macy's card. That's on top of already great deals, like 60% off kids' dresses and dressy looks, 30 to 70% off gorgeous fine jewelry, and 40 to 50% off dining and entertaining essentials. Plus, Macy's Star Rewards members can earn rewards even faster during Star Money Bonus Days, going on now at Macy's. Savings off sale and clearance prices, exclusions apply.
The all-new Nissan Ariya is a fully loaded EV. It's brimming with style and power.
Up to 389 horses of it.
Innovation and intelligence.
E-Force all-wheel drive.
It'll pin you to your seat.
Your very plush seat.
The all-new, all-electric Nissan Ariya. Nissan Ariya with E-Force expected availability early 2023. E-Force cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. E-Force and 389 horsepower available on Platinum Plus. Nissan calculation using 1-foot rollout testing with long-range battery and E-Force only in sport mode with E-Step off. These results are for comparison only and should not be attempted on public roads. Drive responsibly. See nissanusa.com for details.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
You mentioned Côte d'Ivoire. Look, I have in my hand the press statement that the IMF issued at the end of their recent visit to Côte d'Ivoire. And this is what they say about the Côte d'Ivoire economy. They say the Ivorian economy proved resilient to the pandemic. Has the IMF said the same thing about the Ghanaian economy?
Oh, yes.
No.
But the IMF has said Ghana was hit by the exigencies of COVID-19.
And I'm saying that whereas in the case of Ivory Coast, the IMF says the economy was resilient to the pandemic, they don't say the same about our economy. Listen, walking to the hospital for treatment for headache is not the same as being carried on a stretcher in an ambulance to the hospital for treatment for stroke. Even though in both examples there is an issue, there is an issue of you going to the hospital. The condition in which you go to the hospital differs. You understand? So yes, many countries which are member states of the IMF are seeking support from the IMF. But the conditions of those two countries are not the same. IMF has not been downgraded to below junk status like Ghana. Ivory Coast has not been downgraded to below junk status like Ghana. They have not lost access to the international capital markets. They have not recorded a debt to GDP of more than 100% like we have recorded debt to GDP of 103%. They are not recording hyperinflation of 52%. Okay, they are not recording lending rates of over 40%. They have not been given any condition by the IMF to successfully implement a debt restructuring program like it is happening to Ghana. So yes, they are going to the IMF, but the key issue is in what condition are they going to the IMF? And is that condition, that state, the same as a state in which Ghana is going to the IMF? The answer is emphatically no. So look, let them stop making flimsy excuses for their own failings. We are in this mess because they chose to spend recklessly. They chose to borrow recklessly. I was surprised when I heard the national chairman of the NPP today say that they have not borrowed recklessly. Really? You have not borrowed recklessly. So why is it that for the first time in the history of this fourth Republican, this fourth republic, we have defaulted on our debt obligations? How come that we have been downgraded to RD, that is below baller status? If you have not borrowed recklessly, how come your debt to GDP, which is a measure of how sustainable your debt is now hovering around 103%? And how come you are imposing pure financial haircuts on people who have lent you money, including your own citizens, including innocent pensioners? How come? So the fact that you cannot service your debt means that you have borrowed recklessly. COVID is not the reason. COVID only came to expose and worsen an already bad economy. And lastly, before you go to him and come back to me, is that COVID was only an avenue, in fact, a corruption bonanza, through which officials of this government creamed off state resources. And if you doubt me, go and read the special audit report by the Auditor General on COVID expenditure, and you will see how COVID funds were looted. Monies meant to save lives.
You can't say the same for Ukraine, Russia.
But Ukraine, Russia, so the reason why our public debt has galloped close to 600 billion Ghana cedis as we speak is because of Ukraine, Russia.
Right. Let me bring in Nana.
What is the nexus between
the analysis of my brother is so badly skewed. All the figures is you. That is why I earlier on laid this fundamental statement that what the NDC seeks to do is to manipulate figures to achieve a certain purpose.
Are you discrediting the Ghana Statistical Service?
No, that is to him. But I just mentioned that my figure is that is not even the figure. I'm talking about if you have a Mahama administration that was in place for 4 years, and you picked a certain figure. And then you go into President Akufo-Addo's era, and then you picked only one figure. What is important is how did the person manage the economy for the period he was given the mandate. That is very key. That is why I said, when you have 2013 to 2016, and then you were doing agric, you were doing just 2.9, and then 2017 to 2020, we were doing 5.8. What I'm seeking to tell my brother is that if we were badly exposed by COVID. Then if COVID had occurred during the era of the NDC under President Mahama, then would have been dead.
I'm sure the NDC admits that, COVID and Ukraine has, not...
He said quite a lot of things. Let me try and put... So that is why a proper argument situated in proper figures would be given the average, given that length of time that you were in power. You don't take only a figure during a particular period and then make your analysis of it. That is why, for me, I thought that he was going to dispute all the things I said. That agric 2013 to 2016, how did you perform? Abysmal. Under MPP, we did far better. Industry 2013, 2016, within given that period, how did you perform? Abysmal. Under MPP, far better. You take service sector, unemployment, we did far better than you. Then there's civil depreciation. Again, you pick a year on rate and then do your analysis with it. That is why I said from 2013 to 2016, former President Mahama, who is seeking to come back and who he is backing, performed abysmal, again 18%. And then we did even below half the 18%, 6.8%. Then he mentioned 2017 to 2021.
How much was the exchange rate?
The average is 6.8%.
How much was the exchange rate? I want to know 2013 and 2016.
No, I'm working on the average.
2017 and
that is what I'm saying. Between 2013 to 2016, that is the period given to former President Mahama. He managed the economy so badly that cedi depreciation was 18% on the average.
I'm just asking this for the ordinary Ghanaian. They may not understand the percentages you're giving. The exchange rates between the 2013 and 2016.
How, if you want to give exchange rate from that period, I can have those figures for you.
That's fine.
I mean, I have it right here. Okay. I mean, for purposes of time. Okay. That is why I need to do the average. So you have year on 2013, we have the average 2014, 2015, 2016, and then the same for the MPP. And then he talks of debt. Yes. Again, they will pick a figure, manipulate it to achieve a certain purpose. Okay, former President Gufo inherited a debt stock of about 5.4 billion. Now, then by 2001, and then when we were leaving office, it was about 81%. The NDC inherited a debt stock of 9.7 billion Ghana cedis in 2019. And by 2016, when they were leaving office, it was 122 billion. And I think you demonstrated that right on the screen.
Yeah.
And that represents 819%. You see, the rate at which you borrow is very key. You don't take nominal figures and then run with it because you think that it will suit your looming agenda you intend to perpetuate.
What are you trying to...
Yes, the rate at which you borrow is very key. So if from 9.6 billion Ghana cedis, and then you move to 122 billion Ghana cedis, and then the percentage, the rate at which you borrow is 819%.
Okay.
And then you consider that of the MPP, and then it was 304%. They don't want to even do the percentages. Okay. What they are interested in are the nominal figures.
And of course, and that doesn't erase the fact that from 122 billion, you got to 500 billion.
I'm not saying that. That is why I'm saying that they are working on the nominal figures because it will suit a certain agenda.
Okay.
But the rate at which you borrow is very key.
But does it discredit the explanation?
No, that is what they would want to do that. But for me, what is important is the rate at which you borrow. They borrowed at the rate of 819%. We did so at the rate of 304%.
Okay, what difference does it make?
So what I'm trying to say is that he himself trying to say that they did far better and that we have recklessly borrowed is not supported by the facts. Okay. And they did worse. That is why I'm saying that if you intend to have a certain narrative that, the economy was already on its way down and then COVID set in, so the economy already had some underlying factors, and COVID also set in. That's why I'm saying that then the figures, if COVID had set in during the era of the NDC under former President Mahama, then the economy would have been dead. No, Sammy, please. I think that you had quite a lot of time to talk. Look, now it's important for us to go back, because that is where they want to take us. And we need to remind Ghanaians, look, as I speak, free SHS is still running, even in the space of COVID and then Russia-Ukraine war. Under the NDC, we were told that they do not even have the money to run free SHS.
Okay.
If you consider nursing teacher training allowance, it was cancelled. Why? Because we do not have the money. At least, just recently, 2 days ago, nursing training allowance received their money and they were so happy. At least, we have not cancelled it.
Okay.
He was a student back then, I recall, when former President Mahama issued a statement to all VCs that they will be unable to pay utility bills again. Why? Because the government doesn't have money. So vice chancellors must bail students. We came in, and then now students are not paying for it. Government is absorbing all of that. And again, the Auditor General's report, the same trajectory. They will manipulate it to suit their own. Auditor General's report, everybody knows. You see, I'm a board chairman for Bafastock.
Okay.
We were cited in the report. This is what happens. Everybody knows that in auditing, you have entry conference and then you have exit conference.
Okay.
A lot of the things they said, because again, they want to achieve a certain negative intention, they will pick what suits them. Most of the things, for instance, for buffer stock, when we were experiencing lockdown, there were a lot of officers who were not even in the offices to generate documentations for some of the food that we supplied. What the Auditor General said was that we have not been able to provide documentation to cover 1.4 million at a time. Indeed, the exit conference would have shown that we had already provided all of this documentation. And that's what the NDC is seeking to do. For instance, you recall that you wanted to add something?
Yes, so I think you've explained that enough, and you have decided to play the percentage point. But of course, it's still 122 to 500, and you are trying to explain why you've gone to 500.
No, I'm trying to say that they would want to use nominal figures again to achieve a certain looming intention.
Exactly.
To create, that impression that, hey, everything is
okay. So for the sake of time, and I have about 7 minutes, so I'm going to share it for both of you, 3.5 minutes each. Let me come to the issue of downsizing government, because the NDC has spoken about that, and it says it's one of the things, because you have admitted, the president admitted, the president. I'm coming.
You recently married, so that was what I was okay.
That there are challenges.
That is why I didn't want to talk. Yes.
And the NDC says, why are you not downsizing the size? Why are you not downsizing your appointees? You have too many appointees. You say you've downsized from 126 to 86. The NDC says it's still not enough. But my question to you, Sami Gyamfi, are you playing double face to Ghanaians? If you really wanted government to downsize its appointees, why didn't you utilize the opportunity that was given to you in Parliament? Well, more than 30 of members of Parliament of NDC voted to support the extra nominees of the
president. Trust me, Samuel, no answer that.
Let me first of all deal with the blatant falsehoods that Nana B has.
You have 3.5 minutes to do that.
First of all, Nana, you have not just been in office for 2017. So when you are comparing sectorial performance, no, because it's an industry. They did this for 2016. We did this.
No, that's what I did. No, actually,
you have your time. Let me make my point.
It was a period. I mentioned the period.
Industry grew by 4.3% in 2016. In 2017, because of the two new oil fields that came on board, it went up to 15.6%, right? It came down to 10.5% in 2018, 6.4% in 2019, negative 2.5% in 2020, they will say, because of COVID, but negative 0.8% in 2021. And last year, industry grew 2022 by 6.0. Now, that is the broad sector. Come by the subsector.
By 6.
6.0. Come to the subsector.
It appreciated.
Yes, come to the subsector.
So you are quickly trying to run away from the fact that it appreciated.
Which is very critical under industry.
Yep.
Because now you are you are not looking at just the oil and gas sector, which falls under mining and quarry, but manufacturing. 7.9 in 2016 under President Mahama. What was the growth rate for 2022? 4.5. In fact, in 2018 it was 4.1, 2019 6.3, 2020 1.9. Now it is 4.5. And they are projecting that this year to be 2.2. So if we take manufacturing, 7.9 to 4.5, which is further projected to go down to 2.2. Who has done better? Construction, we did 8.4% in 2016. They did 5.1% in 2017, 1.1 in 2018 before COVID, negative 4.4 in 2019 before COVID, 3.1 in 2020 during COVID, 5.7. Then this last year, 4.2. And they are projecting that construction sector will grow by 1.5 even in this year. So who has done better? Services sector, 2.8% in 2016. But check the growth for 2022, 2.8. And 2023, what is the projected growth? 1.7%. So agriculture, 2.7 under NDC 2016. What was the agri growth for 2022? 0.7. What is the projected agri sector growth for 2023? 2.6. So every sector, your performance is the most abysmal because you guys are hopelessly incompetent and you are mismanaging the economy. Number two, They say that there are hardships everywhere because of COVID-19. This is a chart of inflation rates in Africa, and you can compare. Ghana's inflation rate of 52.8% for last month is the third highest in the whole of Africa.
You have 1 minute, so you have to finish and answer that question.
No, you gave him a lot of time, so you are going to another time.
3.5 each. I
think you've confused the timing. You started. I should be ending. Number two. This argument about rate of debt accumulation is a fallacy. You shouldn't stop making that false argument. The most important thing about the debt stock of every country is whether or not that country is able to service that debt. And so whether or not John Mahama increased Ghana's debt by 1,000,000% is not the issue. John Mahama was able to service Ghana's debt. In 2016, tax revenue was 26.7 billion. Our debt service was 14 billion. Meaning that we could use just about 50% of our tax revenue to service our debt and still have some left. The percentage of our debt to our GDP was only 56%. Today, the percentage of our debt to our GDP is 103%. And you can't service our debt such that you are imposing cruel financial haircuts on people who have lent money to you, and you are here talking about rate of debt accumulation.
So why didn't you utilize the opportunity to help government cut down the size of government?
Access to the NDC. So when we are discussing important matters like this, which has brought the country on its knees, let's discuss it and stop shifting, responsibility. Ghanaians don't pay taxes to the NDC. At least you had over 98 or close to 100 NDC MPs voting against the ministerial nominees. You had 136 NDC MPs voting against the obnoxious taxes. That is something you must comment. Not a single soul in the NPP voted against those ministerial nominees or those obnoxious taxes. Before I conclude, you see, they claim that they've cut expenditure. Again, another fallacy. What was the expenditure?
I think that
don't worry, I'll give you your time.
What was the expenditure for the year 2020?
For me.
What was the expenditure for the year 2022? The expenditure for the year 2022 was 136 billion. 2023 expenditure projected 190 billion, an increase of 54 billion. Goods and services has increased from 5.8 billion to 8 billion.
So what's your point?
And allocations to the office of the president is increasing every year. They are not cutting down the expenditure. They are spending recklessly. They are looting state resources. The Auditor General's report is clear. It is not only about the buffer stock matter. There isn't ample time either than that would have demonstrated that to you.
Okay, so
about how they paid about 17 million for food with no receipts to show food. How they paid about 37.6 million Ghanaians for free water.
Let me allow that to respond.
I will not sit. Oh no, Sammy, be disciplined. You have blundered.
We are running out of time.
You see, Aisha, I will not sit. I will not sit on this platform
on COVID-19
for Sami to repeatedly.
Nana, go ahead and make your point.
I said I will not sit on this platform for Sami to repeatedly repeat lies to make sure that look, I've said it. You cannot be picking and choosing figures. I have said that. How you assess a government is within a particular term.
He responded to some of
No, he did not. That is why I want to admit. I'm coming. That is why I'm saying that when you pick Agric, we did far better than them. 2013, 2016, they did 2.8. 2017, 2020, we did 5.8. I've said it. So don't pick source. Kept quiet.
Okay,
I think we started well.
You didn't keep quiet.
Again. 2013 to 2016, you did 3.3%. 2017. Sammy, I think that you have been indisciplined.
For the sake of time, just make your point.
I think we started quite well. 2017 and 2020, we did far better. 10.8. Again, he wants to pick nominal figures. We are given a certain period. Service sector, 2013, 2016, You did 5.2. We did 7.3 within 2017, 2019. You did poorly. So you see, you cannot be picking year-on figures and be making analysis with it. Again, that is why I said that. Oh, Sammy, be disciplined. Be disciplined.
If you have the page, let's give it.
I said the budget. You can work it. Again, he mentioned city depreciation. It is everywhere. We have managed the city better. From 2013 to 2016, it was 18%, and it was still the same President Mahama you are pushing for. 2017, 2021, we managed it better, 6.8%.
But you can't say same for 2023. How much is the dollar to CD right now?
That is why I'm saying that
even 2020, the CD was the worst performing currency in the world for the first 11 months.
It has suffered quite some depreciation. That is why I'm saying that it is because of these external factors, these external shocks. So I will not allow him to be repeating some of these falsehoods. The fact of the matter is that under Nanado,
you are just throwing
Baumia regime, we have done far better than Mahama. So if you are saying that the economy was on its way down, then let me tell you, then even under Mahama, then the economy was already dead.
Okay. So
yes.
All right.
Because if you are saying it, because we are still enjoying electricity. You brought us doing something for 4 years. What VSHS we are still enjoying. You brought me so who brought me so?
People can lie.
VSHS we are still enjoying. Free water, free electricity we are still enjoying. As I speak. Yes. So all of this, former President Mahama here. Former President, what do you know what he said?
Well, this is a conversation. This is a conversation.